So this move down is somehow nullified, though. It's somehow nullified. We have the beginning of a rally tomorrow. So what I actually did is I opened up a straddle here. I cashed in on that gap down as planned, and then I cost averaged down on the calls. Maybe a bit, not maybe, but a little bit early, but at the same time I also opened up a put because we're now in Mercury retrograde's shadow. And as we move forward towards the day when when Mercury is stationary in the sky, as it pivots to retrograde, to moving backwards basically, volatility is going to increase and increase and increase as we move towards that, and then decrease as we move after that moment. The 9th is September 9th, decrease as we move towards the middle of retrograde. So around like the 25th or so, the 24th to 25th of September. That's like kind of like in the middle. So like volatility is going to go increase from here, this moment forward to the 9th of September, and then on the 9th of September, it starts to decrease, moving into the middle of the retrograde period. So around the 24th, roughly, the middle part of September, late middle part. And then after we pass the middle part of September, we start to increase in volatility again as we move into towards the stationary direct, which is on the 2nd. On the 2nd, we see the peak of volatility, just like around the 9th, we see the peak of volatility, and it'll peter out as we move forward towards through the end of the post-shadow part of retrograde. So you can play volatility. It's really, really advised to play volatility. So I've opened up straddle, strangle, or straddle, I should say. I've got 414 puts, and my calls are probably a little too high, but they are out far enough that it doesn't make sense to sell them. It just cost average down on them. 423 calls expiring on the 29th. I'm looking to sell my puts tomorrow. Well, let me make sure. So on the actual timeline, we have Aeon at the end of the day. We're in the midst of the Priestess card, which is usually sort of bearish, like a peak valley and then a peak. Tower and disappointment. So there's a lot of bearish indication. 2 trade opportunities in the midst of some bearish stuff going on here on the 23rd. So I'll sell my puts on the 23rd. And sell my calls as planned on the 24th. I think it's lining up for pretty juicy profitability here. So if you just hopped on, guys, I chose to create a straddle rather than just getting out of my short position this morning. I cashed in on that gap down as promised. I had a feeling we were going to go a bit lower. I just didn't, you got to stick to your trade plan. It's okay to leave some money on the table. It's not okay to be an idiot and, not make any profit when you had an opportunity, which I've done so many times. So I took the profit. It was a juicy profit. Cost average down on calls. And then what I did is I basically bought another put. I rolled out further, so I have a put for the 20. I have a 414 put for the 29th. Do I think it's going to 414? I mean, I didn't buy it for that reason, but there's a good shot that we hit it tomorrow. So tomorrow, you see we've got the Aeon on the 1 month chart here towards the end of the day. We still have Priestess energy at the beginning of the day tomorrow. And there's a big move here. It's either to a low or off of a low or both. And there's strong resistance overnight, or in the pre-market we see strong resistance. But we do have the beginning of a rally here. You could say at this price level around the open, and then at this price level also here around, let's say roughly 1 to 2-ish. There should be a prominent low there, a trough. Based on the fact that we're moving into a very volatile period, what I'm doing is I've learned to play both sides. If you're certain that it's going in one direction during retrograde, you're probably wrong. You want to play both directions, and the cool thing about retrograde is that you usually get another opportunity. If you miss the first opportunity, like, we start to really move into the volatility because it's so erratic, it's so wild. The most volatile periods that we've had in the market, like historically, we're like, oh, this is the most volatile period ever. Mercury retrograde on repeat. So, you know, if you're a smart trader and you position yourself to make money for big moves, right? Because Mercury retrograde, before we go into retrograde, you can count on really big moves, back and forth, back and forth. And if you're nimble and you're very quick, you can really make some money there, but you have to be nimble, you have to be quick, you cannot doubt yourself, you just have to do it and keep moving. Oh, you left some on the table, big deal. You didn't take a loss. Greedy people get, you know, they call them pigs, and pigs get slaughtered apparently. You know, so, play both sides if you can, if you have the ability for options. At least that's what I'm telling myself, is that I need to play both sides. I even wrote it in my ephemeris, my astrological calendar, because last retrograde I made an error that I had done so many times before, which is be so certain and play one direction, and then have it end up being the opposite direction, where I would have made money if I just played both sides, because it's such a big move. But what I mean by get another opportunity is that you go like this, right? So, but don't skip on that second opportunity. And this is, you only want to count on another opportunity during a retrograde. Like, and it may not be the same exact price level, but it'll be a big move back in your favor at some point. Once we finish the pre-shadow period, then I'm really able to determine like what the post-shadow period is going to look like for the S&P 500. Take in any questions, if anybody has any questions, or they want me to look at anything. Yeah, it's a nice move lower. I can go live again on TikTok at 4:32 p.m. Eastern Time. It was kind of fun last time, so I'm glad I'll be back on. I just don't get what they fucking, like, suspended me for. I wasn't doing anything illegal or wrong or anything. It's like such biasm. If you're a psychic, you can't be telling the truth. How do you expect... You couldn't even be a psychic if you're a liar. Like, it doesn't work that way. If you understand anything about the path, the one path towards the one point of wholeness, you know, you fall off that path very easily by doing things like lying. And once you're off, it's not the easiest thing to get back on. So over time, you learn not to lie. It's like one of the baby steps towards enlightenment. And to be a real psychic, that's a big no-no. Yet for whatever reason, I'm sure there's plenty of us that get labeled as otherwise, other than real. But it's like, it's always by the people that don't look at the evidence. You just don't look at it. I had somebody on TikTok say, yeah, it's cool how you say go look at the evidence, and then you don't provide any evidence. Dude, are you fucking kidding me? There's so much evidence. There's so much evidence. I don't need to provide it to you. You're a lazy ass if you can't find it. It's all over the internet. All over the internet. You know what I mean, guys? I'm so tired of those fools. They're the people I'm trying to help, but man, they get under my skin sometimes. When they do things like report you for no reason. Yeah, so I'm closing that put tomorrow. But again, I'm holding that. I'm holding calls as well. We're gonna have a big move. As we move into this, the end of the 23rd, there's a prominent move to the upside. What's interesting to me is that there's some bearish energy there, but the Ace of Swords isn't necessarily bearish. It could really mean like new resistance to the upside. It's kind of hard to read the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Discs because generally they mean new resistance or new support. And the direction has a lot to do with what you see going on. There's a lot of stuff telling me that we move higher towards the end of the day here. We have multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance. We have erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level. And revisit a crest that was recently a past opportunity in the midst of that erratic behavior. So what we'll see is a dip here, and early in the morning we'll see a dip, followed by like a return to a support level that we had broken through in the dip, with some sideways fluctuations and maybe some like false highs here. We break through a resistance level. Interesting. Maybe a good place to open up some protection. Okay, yep, see, and there's this, I wouldn't have picked up on this before, but now that we're in the midst of it, makes a lot of sense. So we likely have another drop over to tomorrow. See that correlation there? The Magus card and the Magus card here also correlates to the Princess of Discs. And then there's that Sun card. So majority of the time there's sharp declines with a lot of volatility and increasing volatility. There are cases where you have a major reversal and a big move. I've seen one where you have like total bullish energy, but it's like it was very rare for the and it still had a lot of volatility in it is the thing. You want to be careful not to fall into the trap of holding your planning to place trades in the middle of retrograde. Right now we're going towards retrograde, we're influenced by it, but once we actually enter retrograde, bad idea to thanks, Philip. Yeah, I just caught that. I probably telepathized you. So much information, you know, sometimes I just miss it because I'm going so fast, but cups here as well. There's a lot of money to be made here, my friends, but we're gonna have a big move to the upside in there. So the Magus card is a hard card to read. It may even be incorrect in the version of the book that I have up, because I used to have it only as a bullish card, but it's not. It's like a wild card, a big move, but a wild card. Really, it's really dependent on other energies that play around it. And you can see we have a high and a low here early in the morning on the 24th. In any case, Priestess card, cross reading, cross time frame congruency here in the first half hour of trading tomorrow morning. So significant behavior going on. We also have congruencies, or I should say, relationships to the significator here. So we should see a dip to and through a support level followed by a return, and there should be quite a lot of movement here, either to or from a low or a trough here around let's say, but end of the day, this is Aeon Energy, Princess of Discs. I think it's bearish. I may have read this wrong. I might have to do an update here. No, I'm not going to change anything. We're under the influence of retrograde. That's exactly what you don't do during retrograde. We have a plan, we stick to it. But you can see there's more Aeon energy here. So we probably have like a dip, or we probably have like a low that we started and we move higher out of it with a prominent high, and then we drop and then have another move to the upside. It's going to be pretty wild, but it's overall bullish day tomorrow. Or excuse me, that's the 24th. Overall bullish day on the 24th. Tomorrow's overall bearish, but like opportunity. It looks like the beginning of a rally commences here at the low. So first thing in the morning, and then again when we revisit a low midday. I'm taking any questions. If anybody has any questions, or they want me to take a look at another stock while I'm here. If you're just hopping on, I was saying that my original plan was to go just long, but I chose to open up a straddle this morning. I'm glad I did. Really, like, my clairvoyance kind of popped in overdrive overnight, or yesterday afternoon, I should say. So I went into a straddle, puts and calls, and basically cost average down on calls, rolled them out on the 29th. I think so, but for them to be profitable, yes. And since I'll be selling at the lows here, I sold one put at a good price level there, and then bought another put, and now that's in the money now. When I sell that tomorrow, provided it's profitable, and then I hold those calls and we turn around and we see a revisiting of a crest. That's what you do during retrograde. You hold those things, and they turn around and whipsaw you if you don't hold. You're like, man, I shouldn't have sold at that loss. Any questions? Month overview, if that hasn't gone, I don't think that's gone out yet. We had a little bit of a change in somebody on our team, so go do that. It's free. You get the S&P 500 1-month overview a week ahead of the month, generally, like roughly a week ahead of the month. You get it before anybody else does, and it's free, so why not? See, we've got that cross reading congruency here as well, where we go from the luxury card into that, which is why I feel like we probably end up in a high here towards the end of the day, and these bearish cards likely are more so. Yeah, that's my sense, Joe, down at the open as well. I was advised not to close my puts in real time today. I was advised not to close my puts. I'd already closed my puts, So that's when I decided to do a straddle. Close my puts for a profit, but I think we've got a little bit more to go, and then we're gonna have a nice whipsaw. Another way that you can play volatility, there's a way that you can get around the pattern day trading rule using options. You can only do it when you have a lot of big moves and price swings. So if you know that that's happening, what you can do is you can put on your vertical spread a leg at a time. If you know options and you know what I'm talking about, you put on your vertical spread a leg at a time. So your long leg, you buy calls and you sell calls against it at a higher strike price, but you buy each of those legs one at a time when it's an opportune moment, because the market goes like this. And what will happen is you can keep doing that, and the next thing you know, you're getting paid to put on a spread, to put on a vertical debit, what's supposed to be a debit spread, you've now put on for a profit. 6,000 that was potential. If my vertical spreads expired in the money, they didn't, but still I got paid 9,000 just to have that opportunity. It was pretty dope. I have photograph of that. I'll have to find that. There's really strong resistance, but it appears overnight, or it appears... this could be it right here, matter of fact. Let me see. Yeah, look at that fucking move. Excuse me. Look at that move, guys. I mean, we were ready for this move. You know? Most people were not ready for this move. They lost a ton of money today. They're freaking out. If you didn't lose money today, you're a mini badass. Really. And it's because you have an open mind and you're willing to actually check facts by yourself. That's the only way I got to be able to do this, is because I didn't listen to what everybody else was so certain about. None of them bothered to even decide, like, think about if they're real or not. How do you prove that you're real? I hope you guys know. I think, therefore I am. You can't argue with that. It's proof of being real. And then from there you build your understanding of reality. But until you start with something you can prove and you have something that you can stand on as a foundation, everything else is ephemeral and you're just certain of nothing. You're certain literally of nothing. It's infinity. You just think you're certain. Really what you're doing is you're creating it. It's called self-fulfilling prophecy. It's exactly how they work. So again, guys, if you were watching and you didn't lose money because of this open-minded mentality, congratulations. Pat yourself on the back, my friends, really. A lot of people lost their shirts today. All the people that were bullish here, they were like, oh, breakout, yes. They were going to see a bounce. They were going to see a bounce, but no, boom, down we go. My 1 month's probably a little bit off on this trough here, but if you've been following the TikToks, I do updates to my trade plans. Thank you, Philip. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was a close one. I almost missed it, you know? That's the risk of me doing too many predictions, is that, like, I don't get, you know, there's a risk if I do too many, I don't get to spend enough energy on one looking into it. I need some water. I'll be right back, guys. Jesus, I leave for 1 second, I come back and there's like shredded paper all over my floor. This is what it's like to have a puppy. Hermes. I don't even know where he gets it. I keep the toilet paper rolls on the counter in the bathroom, on top of the sink, because otherwise I'll eat them. I don't know where he finds this stuff. Jesus. So I'm thinking probably, that's the thing. Like, so if you cost average down at the beginning of today, like those calls aren't looking so hot still. But like, I wouldn't. There's always second chance. Well, not always, but most of the time there's a second chance for each of these moves up and down, because it's retrograde and we go like this during retrograde usually. Sometimes it's with a real slant though, so you got to be careful and just go for the big move, not necessarily the same price level that's revisited, but that's another big move in your favor to give you an opportunity out if you miss it. So chances are there's an opportunity there around the 24th or the 25th. I'm gonna go ahead with I still think on the 24th that Princess of Discs is, based on what I'm seeing here, it's likely a big move to the upside, that Magus card, but it's hard to say because there's a lot of bullish moves there. So, the thing about retrograde is if you play the volatility, you can stay safe by not playing one side of the market. Play both sides of the markets using options. Call straddles and strangles. That's what I do, and that's the best way to go because you're gonna get big moves. Doesn't matter what direction, you'll make money with a big move with a strangle or a straddle. And you know what all these levels are here, right? Let me see. It's like I put these, I notate these things and then E-Trade just frickin' removes them, man. Ugh, so annoying. But you guys, you can see, right? So like Mercury retrograde shadow started on the 20th. Okay, it started on the 20th. The influence of Mercury retrograde shadow. Let's put a vertical in here. That was the 18th, 19th, and then over the weekend, boom, and you can see the volatility is already picked up right here. Like we transitioned from flat to boom, right on the edge, right? So lots of volatility. That should last. Let's put a mark here. Started on the 20th, but it's a weekend. That's one of the things that my chart application on that we're doing the Kickstarter for. That's one of the things that it allows you to do. You can click on and off weekend data, and it'll show you where the weekends are, so that you can help visually extrapolate patterns easier. Because with the weekends, it can really throw off what would have been a pattern if you don't understand that. All right, so on the 9th, September 9th. So this period here is what we want. We're going to pay close attention to. We're going to get more and more volatility as we move forward towards the 9th here. And then it'll start to dissipate. It'll still be volatile after the 9th, but it'll start to really peter out, especially as we move towards the middle. The planet is now moving at normal speed, right, when it's in the middle of retrograde, and then it'll speed up again as it goes into back to direct. And that's where you see more volatility again. Sorry, it'll slow down again as it, it'll slow down again as it moves towards the stations. That's where it slows down. I had it backwards in my mind. So we had those unicursal. Philip, I wonder if you notated those unicursal hexagrams that I was annotating on the charts over the last few weeks. I don't know if you did or not, but if you did, I'd be interested because we tried to erase them. I'd like to see if they, if we're below them already. Let's see. There's one way we can do it. Look at this. Where's that last unicursal? Is it in? There we go. On the 3rd. Alright, so here's the 3rd, early in the day on the 3rd. We should have done it in 30-minute increments, but it actually was at the low. It's around the low on the 3rd. So well, depending on how you read it, it could be at the low or it could be here at the high. But either of these price levels, we're going to notate them as unicursal hexagram. Matter of fact, let me make that bigger. And look at that, my friends. So like I said, it's a price level that when we have the next downturn, what'll happen? We'll be below that price level, right? I know Philip knows. I heard me say that. I don't know about the other guys, but I definitely say that whenever we have a unicursal, it's either like the price point that we're going to have a big decline from and a good opportunity to open up a put, or if we continue to go higher, it's a price point that when we have the next big decline, we'll break down below that price level. So it's good to help when looking to like prognosis of when you're looking for a prognosis of actual price points. That's a lot more difficult, believe it or not, with tarot than the timing with tarot. Like most people play with price points, we play with timing, but finding price points has a lot to do with technical analysis. But also, I'm learning ways, the further into the system that I develop, I'm learning ways that I can use past information to extrapolate future price levels. So we should likely see that. Those calls are going to be ugly. I'm going to have to do a TikTok tonight. Alright guys, I'll take any last questions if anybody has anything they want me to take a look at. After that I'm going to call it and I'm going to do a bunch of recordings for September and start dropping those tonight and tomorrow. Also, I'll probably be live on TikTok. $4:15, cool. Thanks, Philip. I love when I see unicursals. It means quick money if you're smart. If you're smart and patient. Not quick money, but like an opportunity to make like a lot more than normal in an amount of time. I guess you could say it's quick money.
Easter eggs.
On what day, Philip? What the tower card? Oh, tomorrow. Got you. I should probably finish reading my sentences before I ask questions. Yeah, see, that's tricky though, right? Because there's a cross congruency here, and they're conflicting. This is where we really have on the 1 month we have the. So we have the Aeon card appearing like at the end of the day on the 23rd and early in the morning on the 24th. That's that big move to the upside. That'll be a notable move to the upside. It looks like from a prominent bottom, there's definitive, see, there's decline in there too. But those crests, I'm counting on those crests, really. And the fact that we have lots of volatility. So right now everything looks really bleak. And then, oh, look at that. Look at that right there. Look, look, look. Did you see that? Did you see that? I hope people saw that green bar just fly right there. And then back to red. Yeah, that's people getting set up. People getting, my theory is that's people getting bit in the ass, the ones that had to stay in the market due to the pattern day trading rule. You should just trade less, or use multiple accounts, or use spreads during very volatile periods of time and put on the long and short leg at separate times. Those are the best ways around pattern day trading rule. Depends on the circumstance. Yeah, you know, and when you look at the 1 month, we have the Tower card here. So I think that Tower card is really gonna. Let's look at the dailies again. See, I've got a reverse clairvoyant anchor here indicating to open up protection around the high, but the high is nullified. It's really tricky, and that's the thing about retrograde. The deeper we get into retrograde, the more tricky things become. I'm happy to say that by the end of this week, at the latest, all of October dailies will also be scheduled, or they'll already have started posting. I don't like to rely on the Prudence card. The question is, what about the Prudence card for tomorrow and the 24th, both around midday? I mean, it could be, but I really don't like to. I don't like to count on the Prudence card for anything. It's like I find the Prudence card more difficult to read by far than like the Devil card, which is an intentional fake out. Like the Prudence card's not necessarily a fake out. It could be multiple false bottoms or tops. What I think we probably have here is a reversal. Like a price swing, bearish, bullish, a breakout through resistance, followed by what it appears to be a rally, but then turns around. We have another low. No, it's bullish. I mean, this card here, this Tower card, I still feel bullish about this. I still feel bullish here, and a lot of it has to do with this reverse clairvoyant anchor. I mean, these are runes, so they have two different types of meanings. Just like my system of tarot has different types of meanings. There's the normal pictorial meanings, and then there's also the pattern recognition relationships. It's like an added depth. Look at that spike. Do you guys see that spike all the way up past the gap down? Money flows all the way around there, so we're in the midst of opportunity for reversal. You've got oversold territory here as well. But I think probably tomorrow we'll see a lower low or the same low. We'll see. There's a better opportunity than there was today for me to sell the puts that I purchased. Important technical level. I guess, yeah, well, you know, the fact that I notated that there. Let me take a look, Philip. You might be onto something. You might be on point there, Philip. Really, because there's a trade op there, and there's the Sun card moving into it. Magus card correlation as well to midday, so good. That's auspicious for trading. Bullish. On the 26th is when I think I'll likely be like full on bearish. I'll go bearish on the 26th, right around here, around this peak towards the early afternoon. On the we have a reversal there after a rally, looks like. I'll be bearish then, and I'll hold that position. Like, I'll want that expiration to go out far, because I'm not gonna open up any more trades once the 9th hits. We'll see when we get there. I might wait until we get closer to the 9th, but there's a definitive bearish trade there. Yeah, you got it, Phil. Thanks for your support, man. Appreciate you. My whole team appreciates you. Somebody commented on one of my videos, if you build it, they will come. I'd have to go look. I forgot who it was, but that was really awesome. It was very synchronized when I needed to read that, so awesome. Thank you. Much appreciated. All right, guys, I'm going to call it. Look for me if you're interested. Look for me on TikTok. I'll probably be live on after sometime after 4:30 or 5. What is it? It's 4:32. Okay, so probably sometime after 5:30, I'll say. I'll probably be live, maybe sooner, on TikTok. It's not going to necessarily be investment related, because I think they probably suspended my live because it was investment related, which is so ridiculous. But I answer a lot of other questions, and I'm going to utilize TikTok to grow YouTube. That's the plan. So I'll be on there. I view the Prudence card as a bearish card, but that's just what I feel. Yeah, I mean, you should go with it, and if it ever feels differently, you should go with what it feels. I mean, sometimes cards change. They've changed over time. That's why anybody that had pre-ordered the ebook Tarot for Traders, they get a free copy of any of the updated versions. We're coming up on that time where I should probably update. When it's bearish, it's usually like you'll see false bottoms tricking you out or whatnot. Yeah, and see, I'm advised to open up protection at the end of the day, right? We have a breakout off of the low there, an important price level at the high. The only real trade opportunity correlator is here at the end of the day. My sense is that we have that. We probably attempt to establish support here end of the day, and then it's overnight that we have that gap down. Or possibly here with the Magus card. We'll have. Well, no, I don't think it's a gap down from the standpoint of the 1 month. It's not a gap down. It's a gap up, or a move up, obviously, until they're clear. Alright guys, I'm going to call it. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, when you make money from these readings, especially over the next few days, this is when we make some serious money if we're nimble. Follow that rule of karma. Show the universe some love. Send some of that forward, like 5% of the profits. Pay it forward. Somebody who needs it doesn't expect it. Take 5% of the profits, pay it backwards. Show gratitude to the team here for all the free work that we're putting forth. And then the other 90%, just do what you got to do with it. Just make sure it's out of love. As long as it's out of love, you're good to go, my friends. The universe will send it back to you tenfold in all directions.